Okay, so you should be recording now.
Got it.
Cool. All
Yep.
right. All right. So basically, you're gonna want to install, live server.
Mhm.
Once you install it, if it's already installed, opening up a different folder, and you want to create your index.html file. And
Mhm.
to get this whole thing, of course, you're gonna want an exclamation point, and then the first option. And then the next thing we want to do is basically connect our HTML and our JavaScript together.
Okay.
And to do that, we need we need to put it inside the head tag. So this head tag is basically like a bunch of metadata
Mhm.
about a file. And one of the data that we need is connecting our JavaScript. To do that, we do a script file, a script tag. So as you type in script, you'll notice this option that comes up that says script SRC.
Mhm.
Then I want to select that. And then SRC just stands for source. So where's the source? Where's the JavaScript coming from?
Gotcha.
Coming from this file called script.js. So script.js.
Cool.
And I also like to always add defer at the end of it. Right outside the quotation mark, but inside this like alligator. The reason is because defer basically allows us to let our JavaScript not be read until the whole HTML has been read. So basically, especially like if our JavaScript is manipulating our HTML,
Mhm.
it kind of does get messy if our JavaScript gets read before a DOM or our HTML gets read. So we want to make sure our HTML gets read first, and then our JavaScript. To do that, we type in defer. It's just a good it's just a good practice.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is go live. So I'm gonna press this option that says go live. This comes if you have the extension that I mentioned earlier. Right now it's empty. So what we want to do is let's just type in an H3 tag, and let's just say welcome to guess that live game. Right, and then it renders it for us. So what do we need? Well, we need a form. And the form basically takes in an input from the user. And then after that, we need a button to be able to submit this form. Okay, button. And the button will say submit. So there we go. We have a form with a submit button.
Cool. Mhm.
And the input, the type is a string. And let's give it an ID, and let's call it a country. So whatever the user puts in here, we can save it in this little variable called country. Cool. So now, like, I guess let's focus on, I guess, like the hard part, right? So the idea of this app is that we have a bunch of, I guess we have a bunch of countries.
Mhm.
We have the flag, and we have the country's name, right? But first, we need to be able to, I guess, work with the API that we have. This API here gives us this whole data here.
Right.
It's a huge data set, but we only need a certain amount of information. We only need the country's name and the capital. I mean, the flag. So my idea is that we fetch everything, we get all the data, and then we iterate through it using a for loop, but only take out the information that we need. The information being the flag and the country's name.
Okay.
So let's do it in a function, right? Let's do it on a function. Let's call it function. Set up flags, right? And that's the name of the function. So the first thing you need to do is fetch. You need to fetch the data. Yeah, I like the colors. This is new. Fetch, right? And then what are we fetching? This API here. Remember after fetch, we need to do a .then. Does this ring a bell a little bit?
Dot then, what's dot then?
So basically, remember when we make an API call, we need to fetch it.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we get some sort of response, right? We get a response saying whether it's a 200 or 404 or 504 and so on, right?
Okay.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wrap this into a dot then, meaning once it's fetch it done, then we get back some response, and we take that response with this little arrow, we convert it into JSON data. So we say response.json. So this little line of code here converts our response into a data. So now we have this whole data here. What do we do with that? Then we take this data and we can then do what we need to do. Let's just console log it for now. For now, let's just console log it. Let's just print it out and check this out. If we inspect, slash, no. Oh, we need to call the function. Let's just call this function. There it is. There's the information about each country. You see this? This is sort of like an array. Each of them are an array.
What is it showing? Every country.
So this is each data, you see how it's like 0 to 99?
Mm-hmm.
This is 100 countries that is showing us.
Okay.
So give me a number between 0 and 99.
77.
77, look at 77. There's a Comoros. And we can we can look at the flag. Flag right here. If we take a look at the flag, this is the flag of Comoros. Does this make sense so far?
Yes. So like for me as a client, like how do I see?
Right. How does the client see any of the flags, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to be able to take our given data. This is our API, right? Our API gives us this data. Now we have to structure it in the data that we want to see it in,
Gotcha.
right? So now if we're having an app about a flag, why does it matter about the area of the country? Why do we care about the population? We don't need any of this information. We only need the flag and the name. So what we can do is we'll build our logic on line 5, right? Line 5, this is where we get our data, right? Now we'll do some special things to the data. So now let's think about what do we want our object to do? Our object is supposed to have the key value pair. But first, before we even get into that, let's just write a simple for loop. So that way we can understand how to iterate over this, right? So let's write a simple for loop. And what we'll do is, actually before we write a for loop, I want to console log the data length. Just to be able to see what the data looks like. Length. Okay, the 250 countries, dang. Okay. So it's an array with a length of 250. Let's do a for loop here. So just like every other for loop that we write, for let I equal 0, I is less than length, data dot length, I plus plus, right? Now you start to see like how the things that you've been learning applies, right? In the real world, like how does it apply in our app, right?
We starting at 0, not 1.
Well, because it's always the index 0.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yep. And then let's just do a console log data at index I. Just take a look what it looks like. Okay. Cool. We only care about what the name of the country, right?
Mhm.
So let's just take the name, that name. Now look at this. Oh God. Let's just do common. We only care about the common name. So look at this. Yemen, New Zealand, Argentina, Armenia, all that stuff. Is this making sense so far?
The dot name dot com.
Because when I did okay, let's just take a look at the data index I, right?
Mhm.
Let me open up one of the data, right? So this is the object. So what do we want? We want the name of the country, right?
Mhm.
So we go to the key that says name right here, right? So what is the key? What is the key? You see the key that says name, right?
Uh-huh.
What does it map to? A map to another map.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then it has another key inside of it. That map has a key called common.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the value is like the common name. You know, what is the country commonly known as?
Okay.
There's also official name and so on. So that's why I decided to go to .name.common to be able to get the common name.
Yep. I gotcha.
Cool. Tanzania. Cool. While we're at it, let's also console log the flag. Let's do a comma so we can print it on the same line. Data at index I. I forgot what the next one is. Dot flags, right? After that, dot flag, dot png. PNG. Mind you, this is, I guess, like, you know, take a look at it, right?
Mhm.
How did this look?
Oh, cool. Okay. With the picture of the flag next to it. Okay.
So I think last time you said you wanted to go to Southeast Asia, right?
Mhm.
Let's take a look at Singapore right here. Singapore, you go ahead and click on the picture, right? Of the flag, and you get the
Mhm.
flag. So there it is. This is how we'll, I guess, like build our data, right? Our data only cares about the name of the country and the flag. So what we can do now is build our object, right? That basically has only two key value values. I'm sorry. It only has the key value of the key being the picture of the flag and the value being the name of the country.
Mhm.
Cool. Let's call this, I guess, like, what do you want to call this for? I guess like this object. We can call it maybe like flags and country. And you can initialize it to an empty dictionary or an empty object. And then now how do we add key value to a object? I don't remember. I think it might just be flags and countries, index this. This could be the key, the flag, right? Let me actually put this in a variable. Let flag equal this. Let country equal this. And then, okay. You understand what I just did right there?
Yeah.
I just throw these into a variable. And then what we'll do is just push into the dictionary. So, or this object. So this object has a key, which is going to be the flag, and the value is going to be the country. And then let's go ahead and console log it at the end. Console.log. The object. Ugh. Let's do it inside the That then. Take a look at that. This is our object. How does it look?
So, okay. Oh, this there's the black picture to the left.
Mhm.
Okay.
So this is like the key being the picture, and then the value being the name of the country. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So how do we display it here? That's the question. We can, I didn't think this through, but let's figure this out together. Perhaps we can, let's just do it with one country for now. So okay, let's do Rwanda. Okay, so what we can do is to display the flag here, we need it to be an image tag. So I never taught you this before, but there's a thing called document object model. I don't know if you heard of it before, have you?
Mm-mm.
So
Oh, the DOM. I saw that
DOM.
in your video. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So the DOM is basically how we inject, I guess, like things into the website. So we need to inject the image of the flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to inject it here to this website through our JavaScript. And we can do that through the DOM. What we can do is we can create a separate tag, right? A placeholder for now.
Mm-hmm.
That could just be an empty. Let's just do an empty H1 tag. It doesn't really do anything, doesn't hold anything, but it has an ID, right? The ID is just gonna say flag. And what we'll do is basically take this tag and replace it with an image tag. So it could be as very simple as, let me just temporary, let me just create a variable called Rwanda. And this is the link to the Rwanda flag. So what we can do is just inject it. So what we do is document, to inject it, document.element by ID. And the name of the ID that we just give it to this one that we're using as a placeholder is the ID is called flag. So we're gonna get it by this ID. And then actually, hold on, let me look into that. Let me Google that. Convert tab to image JS. Okay, cool. This is actually great. So instead of an H1 tag, we'll do an image. An image tag, right? An image tag doesn't have a closing tag. So image and the SIC, the source is going to be an empty string. So now there's nothing right there. And then what we can do is document.getElement by ID on our JavaScript, and the ID is still flag. And then we do dash source SIC equal Rwanda. We can do this one. Check this out. Cool. Does this make sense so far?
Yeah.
So we're using the using this document get element by ID, we can inject our images. And then we can ask the user, hey, what is the country flag, right? We had the value and then we can compare it by the input.
So once a client puts in a country, what happens?
That's a good question. So let's put in a country, right? We should be able to get the document as well. So with the document, we can be able to get the user's input. So what we can do is basically, again, get element by ID for a country. Document dot get element by ID. And then we're going to get the country ID, which is where the user puts it in. But we only want it when the user submits.
Right.
So what we'll do is when the user submits, we have an on click. Not capital. So what this means is this button here, right? It has an event. The event being a click, right? So when the event that the user clicks this button called submit, we wanted to execute some function. And then that function, let's call it, let's create a function where compare user input, right? This function here. So what does it do? It's going to compare the user's input. So to do that, we need to be able to document the element by ID, the country, and then that inner HTML. Or actually, let me console log it. I don't remember how it goes. That user input equal this. Let me console log user input. So this function will only be called when the button had been clicked. To do that, we have to put the onClick inside the parentheses, inside the quotation mark. We put in the function name and then up little parentheses to make it a function. So let's just put in a country, right, Rwanda. We press submit. Ooh, that's not the behavior I was expecting. I think it's because we need to say type equals button. Let me try to remember if that's why. Yep. So we have to specify this button as the type equal button for some reason. I don't remember why, but I remember this had to be included in order to prevent it from like refreshing automatically. This is not what we want. We want the user's input. I think it's that value. I think it might be that value. I'm not exactly sure. Let me press submit. It does. Okay, it is that value. So when we press that value, we get the actual thing that the user puts in. So
what if they put the wrong country?
Right. Well, but first we have to build a logic of comparing. You know, the answer that they gave us, you know, let's just say Rwanda, right? And the actual answer, which is Rwanda, of course. But to be able to do that comparison, we need to be able to get the picture that the user is looking at.
Right.
So we need this object here. This is actually a little tricky, so let's figure this out. No, we can make this a global object. So that way everyone can access it. So what I did to make it global is take it out of the function and put it outside of it. And that way this function can access it, and so can this function. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Cool. So now what we do is let's also console log flags and countries for now. Let's do it. So I type in Rwanda, submit. Awesome. It does have access to it. So now what we do is basically index into it, right? We index into it by this variable called Rwanda. Let's put it in here. And let's index into Rwanda, which is just like this whole string, right? And then press submit. There it is. The user is correct, right?
Okay.
This is all because I specified this flag to be Rwanda, but of course
Right.
we're gonna make it like dynamic. It's not always gonna be Rwanda. But here's what we can do. We can do a double equal to comparison. It's false. Okay. We're gonna have to, in order to I guess sometimes you don't expect the user to always type it in exactly correctly. Even though I type in
Right.
Rwanda with a capital R, I still have it correct, So I guess what we could do is lowercase everything. So we can do that. What we'll do is add a parentheses around all of this and then dot lower, I think. Hold on, let me check. Lowercase join JavaScript. To lowercase, we have to do this. Dot to lower case. That's how you do it. Now that converts this input at the lowercase, and our answer should also be answer equal this, but lowercase. And then we can basically ask it if user input is equal to answer. So now, if I type in Rwanda, right? It's a true. Even if I type in Rwanda with a capital D, right? Those should be true. They're true. Perfect. But if I type in Rwanda with an H at the end, right? That's incorrect. Awesome. Because they still got a false Rwanda like this.
Right.
Cool. So we have some sort of system so far, but we need to add that layer of randomness, right? So it can be randomly selected, a country to display. So maybe we can create a different function that randomly, so I guess randomizes the order of the flag.
Right.
Let me think about this. I guess you could, when the app begins. By the way, I want the flag to be shown above the form. I want it to be shown above the form. Let's think about this. How do we randomly show different flags? Well, we could look through this. I guess we could. So every time the user, right, press submit, we want to get a different random country again. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. So maybe we can
I guess if they get it correct, then it'll go to the next flag.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. So what we could do is create a variable, right? It's correct, right? which is just gonna be as the answer and the user input the same, are they equal to each other? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do is basically say, if this is correct, then we're gonna show a different country again, right? A random country again.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's correct, then document get element by ID, right? The flag, but instead of showing the Rwanda flag now, what we'll do is basically a different flag, right? So let's create a different variable called let flag, right? Equal, we're gonna use our object flags and country. And we want some random number. JavaScript and random is pretty tough actually. Give me a random number.
A random number.
Yeah.
3.
3. Okay, cool. Oh, first we need to start off with this first. Okay, so I'm gonna type in Rwanda. This is correct. And then show me a different country. Ugh. It did not work. Oh, it's not gonna work that way. Because the key is, yeah, no, this is not gonna work. What we can do instead. Okay, so to make it, instead of making it like a key pair value, what we could do is, yeah, this is trickier than I thought. Let's look it up. How to randomly select, a key from an object, JavaScript. Okay. How do we get random one, right? Okay, this is a really complicated, but we're gonna use other people's code. This is how they did it. So here's the thing about coding. More often than not, you're just copying and pasting. So what we'll do is copy and paste this. Except this time, we don't need a return. And instead of object, OBJ, we're gonna look through our called flags and country. So we get all the keys, and then we randomly select one of them. Let me console log it. Okay. Close it off. Line 34, let's just print it out. And so Rwanda. Okay, cool. It does randomly select a different country. So instead of console logging at this time, we'll create a different variable called new country or new flag. And then we'll display that. Rwanda. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, which one is this? What's this country?
I don't know.
Come on now, this Gambia. Gotta be Gambia. Nope. Okay, that's the wrong. So wait. No, it's not. No, it's not. It says Rwanda. That's all right. That's why. So I gotta stop doing that. This is where the logic falls apart. So when begins, it starts with Rwanda, but we don't want it to start with Rwanda all the time. But I like how I guess I'm just gonna type in Rwanda again, even though it's incorrect. But it's doing a different country each time, so that's good. Okay, so how do we prevent it from saying Rwanda? I guess we could take this out, and this goes out as well. Now we gotta actually look for the answer though. Let me rethink this. So user's input, we take the user's input. Set up flags, and then we can let first flag, maybe we can create a first flag. Let it be the Rwanda flag for the beginning. And then that first country equal Rwanda. Nah, let me think about a different solution. This is what I guess the job is basically this whole thing. It just you have a solution, it works, right? But it doesn't work thoroughly. Now you gotta figure out how to fix this. Do you understand what the problem is?
But
Let's play with the app, right? What this country? Rwanda, right?
Rwanda.
What country is this? I don't know, but it's definitely not Rwanda, right?
Right.
So let's just play Cuba, right? But it's saying it's Rwanda. Let's look at where this is getting printed. 929, right? This is getting printed right here. So it says user input, which is correct. I typed in Chile. It says answer is Rwanda, but Rwanda is not the answer. So where's the answer getting come from? Answer comes
26.
from 26, right? It comes from flags and country, which is the object.
Oh, yeah.
Index of Rwanda. That's why. So instead of index of Rwanda, we want to index at
Random.
the flag, the random flag that we picked, right? The random country that we picked, right? So now the answer should be, so instead, actually, matter of fact, what we can do is just take this whole thing and put it here instead. So keys, we get a bunch of the keys, we randomly select one of them, and then we display the country. And now the answer is no longer Rwanda, but instead, the new flag. And that should work. Let me get rid of that. Actually, no, this would. Hold on. So when the user puts something in, this function gets executed, and then it shows a different flag now. They will always be incorrect. I don't know. Let me think about this. This is actually really tricky. So when they click submit, right, this function gets executed. And what this function does, it gets all the keys, which is all the flags, and then it picks a random flag again. And then it displays it, but it did not, it compares the value with that new flag, but they can never get it right because they're submitting for the previous flag before the new flag comes in. Which is not, let me show you what I mean. So I type in Rwanda here, right? And then it's gonna say incorrect. Because now it's a different country, right? This is probably Egypt, right? It's incorrect then. So this is not what we want. Instead, what we do is get the new flag. I think that the problem is that I'm starting with Rwanda first. But instead, I should start with a random country. Let's create a different function, right? Get random country. It does that. It displays the flag and then it returns the new flag. So we create a function that basically gets a random country, displays it, and then returns that flag for us. And what we'll do is every time the page renders, we want to get random country. We can make it a variable, global variable, maybe new flag. And then the function basically gets executed. Get random country. It's executed. Now we have a new flag that we can compare with the user's input. Maybe that could work. Oh God. Welcome to coding. This is early this is early the name of the game. Okay, get another country. What does this? I think this might be the reason. Console.log new flag. That's why it's getting printed here. Why is new flag empty though? Oh, because this takes a while to load up. Oh, okay. I should put it in here. Got it. Okay, perfect. I don't know what this country is. Test. I don't know. It's Oman. Oman. There we go. Cool.
You have to get it right for it to
You
change.
have to get it right to get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't know what this country is either.
No idea.
This is not Oman. This is not Oman. Oman. I know this is Hungary. This is Hungary.
Not Italy.
No, Hungary. That's right. Is it not Hungary? It is Hungary. Yeah.
Oh, it is hungry.
I know this because I'm always hungry.
But it said Oman.
Yeah.
Where did it get Oman from?
Yeah. Because we're not getting random country each time.
41. User input answer is
41. Yeah, is always going to be new flag, but new flag should be updated. Oh, okay, okay. Okay. If they are correct, right? What we should do is get random country, execute this function. Maybe this time it will work. Oh, I don't know the country. Test. No, okay, how am I supposed to know that? Okay, I don't know what this one is. Just a test. Oh no, this is Argentina. Is this not, no, Australia? Okay, how am I supposed to know that? Okay, it's working now though.
Ireland.
I have never heard of that country before. I don't know what this is. Okay, so you can't press enter apparently on this app. Okay, how am I, what are these countries coming from? Hey, this one is easy.
Japan.
Japan. There we got it. This one's easy.
Nigeria.
Hey,
It's working.
that's my
Yay.
country. That's where I was born.
Nice.
I don't know. Sierra Leone? Equatorial Guinea. That's so dope. All right, I guess we're done with the app.
That works. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it works. Only thing is I don't like it when the previous country is still there. So what we can do is just like make it an empty. So basically you notice how like so this is Bangladesh, right? So when I press submit, why is the country Bangladesh still on the string? It shouldn't be, right? So I want to get rid of that. How do I do that? I can just do document get element by ID, this thing right here, and then set it to an empty string. The document dot get element by ID. The ID called flag. Oh no, it's not called flag, it's called country. This one, this input tag right here. The input tag, my bad, 914. I can set the inner HTML to an empty string. So this is, come on, I know this one. Sierra Leone. Djibouti. Okay. Okay, why is it not setting it to an empty string? That value maybe? Oh, this one is easy. Cape Verde. Oh, I misspelled it. Cape. There we go. It's empty string now. Do you see that? Like, so now like Cape Verde is no longer on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this one is Jamaica. Angola. That's one of my favorite flags, actually. Angola. But yeah, that's everything. Crazy thing is, we did this in less than like 50 lines of code.
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
Yeah, and that's how you do it with Poland. No, wait, is this Poland? It's either Poland or Singapore. Monaco? Okay, how am I supposed to tell the difference between Monaco and Poland?
The red's on the bottom.
Hey, how original. Okay. But yeah, that's how the game works. What do you think? Let me stop.
Yeah.
Let me stop recording. I'm gonna pause it.